Doubles and Coffee, CEPEP, Faris, Joel Edwards, the board members of CEPEP, case coming up, you know. One board member don't tell the truth. Joel Edwards, what you decide to do? You went out of the country, former chairman of CEPEP. What you decide to do? You decide to tell the truth. What took place with the extension of every single PNM contractor under the sun on the day of the election at 9 a.m. April 28, 2025, extending contracts all up to 2029, $1.4 billion. Joel Edwards, what you decide to do? You decide to say what Keith Eddy say and what the first board member who put in an affidavit say? That you told them that the minister, former minister Faris Al-Rawi told you that cabinet had approved and had agreed to the extension of all these contracts en masse, and that the board note, the corporate secretary did it up because she have to do her affidavit case coming up October 31st. She have to do an affidavit, Miss Gopal Singh. Why did she do a memo that was circulated to all the board members without the cabinet minute, without the cabinet note stating categorically that the cabinet had agreed to this mass extension till 2029 of contracts that still had life in them, contracts that was still valid all up till 2026, but they extended them all the way to 2029. Joel Edwards, what you're going to say? Are you going to corroborate the statements of Keith Eddy and the first board member? Or have you decided to take the advice of lawyers who are friendly to Faris Al-Rawi? Did you get your own lawyer? Did you get your lawyer who loves and respects you, who's beholden to you, who take your retainer and your money to defend you? Or you're going and use Faris lawyers? Because the story that you're trying to sell about that it was an error, then you tried to correct. There was no error, no group chat, no mention, no WhatsApp, no letter, no memo, no instruction to the corporate secretary, no instruction to the board members that it was in error, that you all stated on the memo that the cabinet had agreed. So that wouldn't fly in court, because court is not old talk, you know. Court is evidence, court is submissions, and Keith Eddy and the other board member who already corroborated Eddy stated categorically that you, Joel Edwards, former CEPEP chairman, instructed them that the minister had told you that cabinet had agreed. Now, Joel Edwards, I have to ask you something now. I now understand why you might be wanting to create and concoct a story and not tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, you know. Joel Edwards, are you the same Joel Edwards of J.C. Edwards Construction and General Services Limited? Are you that human being that has that company, J.C. Edwards Construction and General Services Limited? Because if you are Joel Edwards, that same person, I now understand, the Douglas now understand why you shimmy Damien, why you will be willing to tell lies, why you will be willing to protect the PNM, why you would be willing to protect Faris, and now understand why could the Joel Edwards, the PNM treat you good. And you, in some of the WhatsApp messages that I saw, you appeared to be an honest fella, because you were suggesting and telling the other board members after they lost the election, the PNM lost in a landslide, there's evidence of you telling them, hey, the right thing to do is to resign. That means that somehow inside of you there is some good character. I also see that you were appointed previously a member of the Integrity Commission, Joel Edwards. You, a former member of the Integrity Commission. I'm asking you now, are you lying or are you telling the truth? Tell me. Now, while you're telling me that, also tell me, are you a director? Do you have anything to do with a company called J.C. Edwards, you know, you are Joel Edwards, Construction and General Services Limited. Because you was the chairman of CEPEP, and CEPEP is cutting grass, and the PNM say that, oh Lord, because the UNC is dealing with corrupt PNM contractors, a corrupt PNM board who extended contracts to commit the taxpayers to $1.4 billion illegally, illegitimately, and there was misbehavior in public office and fraud at CEPEP in the carrying out of that extension of contracts to the tune of $1.4 billion. The PNM's position is that Kamala and the UNC and Barry and Feroz Khan and everybody in the UNC don't like poor people. They're suffering those poor people who cutting grass all across Trinidad and Tobago, 10,000 workers. Isn't that the PNM position? So cutting grass and things is really for poor people to make money, not so. So Joel Edwards, I'm going to say this. At HDC, a company called J.C. Edwards Construction and General Services Limited, which I proffer and I'm asking you, is that your company? Are you a director in that company? Had 3 contracts at HDC. One at Edinburgh Village Plaza for $12,500 per month to cut the grass around there. To cut the grass, you know, Joel Edwards. This J.C. Edwards Construction and General Services Limited. It also, that's per month. It also had a contract down in Labre. So you so good, J.C. Edwards Construction and General Contractors Limited. You cutting grass in Edinburgh, in Chaguanas, and in Labre, you know, down in Pierre Road for $12,000 a month. That's $24,500 a month approximately. J.C. Edwards Construction and General Services Limited also had a contract at HDC to cut 130 lots to cut grass, to maintain the grass, right? For $54,576 per month. J.C. Edwards Construction is a very lucky firm. That was in Cashew Gardens. Now that contract had been terminated or ended in March 2025. Mr. Joel Edwards, is that your company? Tell us how long you had that $54,000 a month contract to cut grass. Was it that you became the CEPEP chairman and then they said, hey boy, that looking bad boy, and they stopped it? Tell us why they stopped it, how long it went for. $54,576 plus $12,000 per month in Labre, Pierre Road, and $12,500 per month at Edinburgh Village Plaza. That is nearly $80,000 per month in cutting grass contracts, Mr. Joel Edwards. So I know the Douglas now understanding why a man who was on the Integrity Commission before, a man who appears to have a bit of honesty in him, would want to support the lies of the PNM, the lies of Faris Al-Rawi, the lies that Cabinet had agreed to the extension, the lies printed on a CEPEP memo, the lies told to Keith Eddy, the lies told to the board and to the other members of the board. I hope you all got your own personal private lawyers to advise you all. The case coming up, and the Commissioner of Police seems to be a very serious individual who would not play in politics, whether UNC or PNM. Right is right and wrong is wrong for that Commissioner of Police. It's not no hand-selected Commissioner of Police selected by you, Keith Rowley, who whisper in the ears of Paula May Weeks and jump somebody up from 4th to 1st and 12th to 1st, and then they beholden to the PNM. It don't appear to be that Commissioner of Police, and this thing had charges, it had jail. The bucket and them in Golden Grove is not easy to squat down and defecate, you know, board members, former PNM board members of CEPEP. But let me ask all the rest of all you had all this kind of $80,000 a month to cut grass by HDC too. All you had contracts across the government. Mr. Joel Edwards come out and talk. Is this J.C. Edwards Construction and General Services Limited company, you Now, ladies and gentlemen, you see as you go along, get ready to pay attention to the budget, because this PNM more corrupt than even I thought. And the Douglas know that PNM is the most corrupt government in the history of the West Indies, the Caribbean, and the Western Hemisphere. As I say in that first comments, I thought cutting grass, the PNM, was for the poor to get money, and UNC firing CEPEP and URP workers and so on, and we wicked. It's not that we're dealing with the PNM corruption. Foster, as you like to call press on, or call a press conference and tell me, if your companies that you are associated with, or your family member companies, the companies that are connected to you, Foster, whether through family, wife, sister, son, daughter, whatever, if they make $2.1 million per month by HDC, there's some of the companies, Short Serve, Clyden, them Pical, Rivulet, call the press conference and tell these citizens on top of your salary, because you talk all of PNM talking about Kamala dress, Foster talk about them contracts that your family have. Is it the equivalent of $2.1 million a month, Foster? Foster, you're serious, Foster? Foster, you share that money with all the poor CEPEP workers who the UNC torturing, when everybody knows that Kamala Prasad, this is a love citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, especially those most in need, the most impoverished, those who need a hand up, the single mothers, the children, that is Kamala Prasad, and she will provide support for them, the budget coming. So Foster, let me know, Andrew Gabriel, why? But you was a big topper smoking cigar and thing, and in all them bourgeois party and thing, Andrew Gabriel. Do you have any companies that receiving from HDC cutting grass, you or your wife or anybody in your family, your wife, your family members, any association with any companies cutting grass and thing in HDC? Andrew Gabriel, big bourgeois man, big businessman, fancy shoes, fancy bed, strong man, smoking cigar, drinking expensive scotch. Because I thought cutting grass was for poor people, Andrew Gabriel. Any company that you related to your wife, anybody, making $600,000 a month from HDC, cutting grass? The chairman of HDC, Feroz Khan, said that, the PNM, the Treasury, the HDC, the money that was approved, taxpayers' money to build houses for people, that it was akin to a cow. And the PNM were like millions of ticks on this cow, just sucking this cow dry, and no houses being built, no people application being seen about, billions of dollars spent, and no houses to hand out to the desperate citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. That is the best analogy. So Joel Edwards, and to all the other CEPEP board members of the PNM, all they put in all their affidavit, because Annan Ram Logan coming, the case coming up October 31st. To my silly advice, my humble advice, two things. One, get your own lawyer, because all they didn't have no set of contract for $80,000 to cut grass by HDC, with all yourself, all your family and so on. So they didn't have no $80,000 a month contract at HDC. So get your own lawyer, pay your own lawyer with your own money to give you your own specific advice. And then former PNM CEPEP board members, talk the truth. Just take my advice, because this thing, it nice, and jail nice, and Annan Ram Logan don't eat nice. So Joel Edwards, I now understand why you're in a quandary, boy. Why all of a sudden the truth hurting to fall out your mouth. But however, evidence is there, evidence is clear, and the advice is talk the truth. J.C. Edwards, Joel Edwards, J.C. Edwards Construction and General Services Limited, $80,000 a month in cutting grass contracts, and he's the chairman of CEPEP, PNM. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day, and reject PNM now and forever. Bless.